Good morning, all of you. Yesterday, we have started with another topic of relation between homeopathic repertory and organon of medicine, and we have covered certain points like relationship of repertory with respect to law, with respect to philosophy, and with respect to principles. So we have covered these 3 points yesterday. What is the relationship of homeopathic repertory with respect to law, with respect to principles, with respect to philosophy, and relationship of repertory in search of synonyms. Today we will study what is the relationship of repertory to organ of medicine with respect to the symptomatology. The symptomatology is a very important part of repertory because on this study of symptomatology, the construction of repertory, the philosophy of repertory, and use of repertory, selection of repertory, these 4 steps of repertory are interlinked in the symptomatology. I am again repeating that construction of repertory, philosophy of repertory, selection of rubrics, and selection of repertory, and also up to some degree repertory totality. All these 5 steps of repertory, all these 5 steps are dependent upon the thorough study of symptomatology, and because of this we can say that repertory has made the symptomatology more and more applicable through the experiment or through the action of repertorization. So these 5 points where the symptomatology is very much important to study the repertory, and most of the information about the symptomatology, where it is given, it is not at all given in the repertory, but all the information about the symptomatology is scattered. It is scattered in the different books. It is scattered throughout the literature of homeopathy, and mainly this scattered literature is by the various philosophers like Kant, Stuart Close, H. Robert, C.M. Boger, Margaret Tyler, etc. So all these philosophers have written something about the symptomatology and its use in the repertory. So this information about the symptomatology is scattered. It is various in the books of philosophy, and it is also scattered in the various aphorisms of organon of medicine. For example, in the aphorism number 153, Dr. Hahnemann has talked about peculiar symptom. In aphorism number 212, Hahnemann has talked about the importance of mental general symptoms. And a number of places, Hahnemann has given directions about this symptomatology. But all this theories of symptomatology is only applicable when somebody starts solving the case with the help of repertory. If anybody do not know what is the importance of mental general, physical general, nobody will understand what is the philosophy of Kant repertory, what is the plan and construction of Kant repertory. If anybody does not know what is concomitant symptom, what is particular symptom, what is complete symptom, what is incomplete symptom, he is unable to understand the philosophy given in the Gonimus therapeutic pocketbook. He cannot further understand the plan and construction of VTTP, and he further cannot use that BTPB efficiently in actually the variety of cases. And this is the importance of symptomatology. The more and more you have better understanding of symptomatology, the study of repertory becomes more easy, and that applicability of that respective repertory also increases by many folds. If you don't know what is pathological general, if you don't know what is pathological symptom, what is causation, what is time modality, what is general modality, what is particular modality, you can't understand the philosophy of Cyrus Maxwell Google, which he is talking in the BBCR, and according to this philosophy, he has constructed his BBCR, and following the same philosophy, the user who is using Boger-Bonny-Musen's characteristics and repertory will have to use that BBCR successfully to the various cases. Again, there are repertory like synthetic repertory by Barthel and Klunker. This synthetic repertory by Barthel and Klunker is only focusing on the mental general and physical general. In this repertory, synthetic repertory, no particular symptoms are given. Now, why Barthel and Klunker has done like this? What is the reasoning behind this of not giving particular symptoms? If you want to understand it, you have to understand the philosophy of mental general and physical general. You have to understand this topic, mental general and physical general, from the point of symptomatology. So, all the parts of symptomatology is very important, but most of the literature is given in the organon of medicine. Unless you understand that literature about the study of symptoms, you cannot study repertory properly, you cannot use the repertory properly. On the contrary, the knowledge of symptomatology is becoming more applicable only while you start applying it in the actual cases of various diseases, actual cases of patients through the process of repertorization. And accordingly, most of the masters of repertory have explored and refined this science of symptomatology. To give you examples, in further number 153, Hahnemann has just given a hint about what is peculiar, queer, and rare symptom. But the various masters of repertory have explored this. What is the peculiar? And accordingly, Bonny-Musen has this famous 7 criteria of deciding what is peculiar. You must be knowing in that quis, quid, ubi, cubis oxalis, Komodo, Pondo. All these are what? All these are attempts made by Bonny-Musen to understand the simple line given by Hahnemann, that is peculiar symptoms. So, similarly, Dr. King has also tried to understand what is the meaning of this peculiar and applied in the repertory. And Boger, C.M. Boger has also explored this what is peculiar symptom through his experience, through the various literature, and he has come up with his own philosophy of Boger's synoptic case. Now remember, I have taken one more new name, that is Boger's synoptic case. BBCR, that is Boger-Bonny-Musen's characteristic repertory, is followed by Bonny-Musen's philosophy, but in one more repertory by C.M. Boger, that is Boger's synoptic case. He has come out with a new philosophy, different from Bonny-Musen's therapeutic pocket book. So all these masters or authors of this repertory faculty, they have explored and they have more refined this science of symptomatology, which is scattered here and there in the various books of philosophy, and the various books of organon. So this is all about how repertory is making available, making more and more symptomatology applicable. And when we start study of repertory, you have to explore the science of symptomatology, and you have to do a refined study of this study of symptomatology. And more you are accurate, more you are thorough, more your concepts about various types of symptoms clear, the application of repertory becomes easy. Then the next is relation of homeopathic repertory with respect to potency, with respect to posology, and with respect to the follow analysis. Now, while discussing the limitation of repertory, we have studied that repertory do not guide us about these important aspects of similism, and repertory will only guide us up to the group of medicine. But to achieve the cure, according to the number. Second, to achieve the ideal cure, the four things are very much essential, or the four things are important. The first thing important is that your selection of medicine should be accurate. Then that selected medicine should be given in the proper potency, it should be given in the proper doses, and it should be given in the proper repetitions. And one more thing is that the cure is not happening within a few hours or within the few days, but it requires few months, few years, depending upon the chronicity of seed complaints. So that follow-up analysis is also very important aspect of achieving this, the goal of homeopathic physician, that is the ideal cure. And along with this three aspects, that is accurate selection of medicine, accurate selection of potency, dose, repetition, accurate follow-up analysis. One more thing is required is every patient must be, depending upon each diagnosis, you must be advised proper diet, and proper auxiliary line of management should also be there. For example, if there is a case of diabetes mellitus, you are giving everything, medicines in accurate dose, you have selected accurate medicine, you are followed proper potency, proper dose, proper repetition, you are also doing the follow-up analysis very nicely. But if you do not focus on this diet aspect of that diabetes mellitus patient, you are bound to have failure. And you cannot expect that you are giving homeopathic medicine and the patient is eating daily 2 vada pav in the morning and 2 vada pav in the evening with sugar tea. It is impossible that the patient's diabetes will be controlled. So diet, proper diet, depending upon diagnosis, is also equally important for achieving the process of cure. And this knowledge of diet is again given in the organon. Then again, one more important aspect of the cure is the cases has to be managed properly. The auxiliary line of management should be accurate, or otherwise it will create problem. For example, the patient is having loose motion in 3 days, 4 loose motions, 4 to 5 loose motions in a day, that too in a profuse quantity, exhausting the vital force of the patient, and you are just giving medicine, you are just analyzing its action, but you are not doing, if you are not focusing on the hydration status of the patient, what will happen? Your medicine cannot correct the hydration. We need oral rehydration, or we may need, depending upon the proper analysis of the situation of patient, we will have to take also the help of IV intravenous fluid. So all these things are very, very important. And even this knowledge of auxiliary line of management is also given in the aphorism number 62, where this aphorism number 62 of organon highlights that whenever we have to require such auxiliary line of management, there should not be any hesitation. We must follow this auxiliary line of management properly. And all these knowledges which are essential for achieving the ideal cure, where it is given, whether it is given in Mater Medica, no, it is not given in Mater Medica, whether it is given in the books of Repertory, no, but all these things are given in the organ of medicine, the various books of philosophy which are explaining this organ of medicine. So again to achieve the cure, the approach of the physician is also important. Now there is one important aphorism number 71 onwards, 72 onwards, Hahnemann has emphasized on the classification of disease. So there are classifications like acute disease, chronic disease, surgical disease, indisposition, mental diseases, local maladies, intermittent diseases. So all these diseases which are classified by Hahnemann because of its different aspects under different heading requires the different approaches. For example, acute diseases will require initially short-acting medicines. Then to prevent the recurrence, it will require, it is to be complemented, it is to be followed by deep-acting constitutional medicine. Then intermittent fevers, which is part of intermittent disease, requires what? Administration of anti-sodic medicines in between. Then all this knowledge is in the organon, and without this knowledge, achieving the cure is very, very difficult. It is not only difficult, but it is impossible. Then treating the mental diseases, Hahnemann has again classified it under the 4 subtypes, and again he has given the guidelines how to manage the acute mental diseases or mental diseases where the patient is non-cooperative, where the patient is violent. What we are going to do? Again, the instructions are given in that mental diseases. In such short, violent symptoms of the mental diseases, again you have to construct the acute totality of symptom and prescribe accordingly. If you are unaware of this fact, what you will do? You will take each and every symptom of the patient. You will not give importance to what are the recent symptoms, what are the old symptoms. You will just take up this recent symptom, old symptoms into a totality. From totality, you will tell that repertory totality. From repertory totality, you will repertorize. You will differentiate. But ultimately, and you will use the medicine. But ultimately, if you are not following the guidelines given by Hahnemann and the classification of disease, the failure is bound to come. So, in summary, I will again to summarize, I will again say that to bring cure, these 4 aspects are very important. The selection of accurate medicine, its proper posology, proper follow-up analysis, proper diet and management, and all the knowledge of these 3 important aspects like potency, dose, repetition, follow-up analysis, diet and management. All these 3 aspects are only and only possible if your knowledge of organon is good, if your knowledge of organon is proper. repertory will only give you this medicine, or that not a single medicine. It will give a group of medicine. The repertory is incomplete with respect to bringing the cure. If you complement with your knowledge of organon with respect to these 3 points, then only you will be able to achieve this process of cure. Then next relations of repertory with respect to the selection of rubric. This is again very important aspect. Now, few famous authors of repertory or the criticizers of the repertory and always criticize repertory on this aspect. Repertory is a very mechanical. What input you will give to the repertory will give you the output in the same way. And what is the input in the repertory? Input in the repertory is what rubrics you have selected and how the repertory totality you have formed. Depending upon the quality of that repertory totality, depending upon the rubrics considered in the repertory totality, the output will be superior. If your selection of rubric is improper, your result of repertorization will be improper, and finally, ultimately, the user will criticize what? User will criticize repertory. User will say that this repertory is a subject because it is inviting more and more failure. But no, it is not like that. We already seen that repertory is a good servant, but a bad master. Whatever you ask, whatever input you give to that servant, depending upon that input, the output will be there. So this input of repertory is the refined rubrics, the more characteristic rubrics we need to select. And depending upon the selection of rubrics, the medicine selected will be, or medicine suggested with the repertory will be more and more accurate. Now let us also study. So far we have studied that selection of rubric is very important for accurate repertorization. Now we will study what are the different types of rubric. Now, remember, now this types of rubric may be asked as a shock note to you. While reading the preface of Kent repertory, we have discussed in detail about two types of rubric: general rubric and particular rubric. So, what is general rubric? General rubric is not related at all with the general symptom, and particular rubric is also not at all related with the particular symptom. And we have discussed at that point what is the general rubric, particular rubric, what is its scope, what is its limitation, whether they are related with general symptoms or particular symptoms in detail. So already we know two types of rubric. One is a general rubric, another is a particular rubric. Then you write down this, or afterwards you make a note of this types of rubric. It might be as short note. So first is general rubric, second is particular rubric, then third is rubrics which are related with whole body. Now I hope that you all are remembering what is the meaning of rubric. What is a rubric? Rubric is a short form of the symptom. Rubric means the heading in the repertory. So there are few, when we take an overview of all rubrics given in the repertory, there are, in addition to general rubric and particular rubrics, there are certain rubrics which are related to whole body. There are certain rubrics related to part of body. I will wait. So all the complaints aggravated night. This rubric is in the generic chapter, and this rubric is related with whole body. Then eye complaints aggravated at the night. This is a particular modality, and it is the rubric. When we use this specific rubric from the eye chapter, it becomes rubric related to the part of body. We understood these four types so far. Then another type of rubric is a positive rubric. What is the meaning of positive rubric? Is the various rubrics which are giving us information about the causation of the disease, like for example, ailments from disappointment of love, then ailments from anger with vexation, ailments from anger with anxiety, and again ailments from eating sweet. So positive rubric means ailments from. Ailments, the meaning of ailments is a uncomfort at the level of body. It is not disease. It is a discomfort. It is a ailment means discomfort, and that discomfort is brought by which positive factor. And whenever a rubric gives us information about the positive factor of a disease, it is called as positive rubric. Then there are certain rubrics of modality. Modality means what we have studied in symptomatology. It is a modifying factor of a symptom, and this modifying factor of a symptom is nothing but modality. There are certain rubrics of modality. Example, the previous one I am going to all complaints aggravation at night, all complaints or the eye complaints aggravated at night. This is the example of rubric of modality. Then there are certain pathological rubrics. Pathological rubric means what? The rubrics which are giving information about the underlying pathology of disease. For example, innovation. For example, inflammation. For example, swelling. For example, eruption. So, but the first three are more important pathological rubrics than innovation, swelling, and inflammation. Swelling in books of pathology is mentioned as edema, but in our books of Repertory and in our Repertory it is mentioned as swelling. These are all examples of pathological rubrics. Now, this our repertory is very having less clinical information about this pathological rubric because our Materia Medica do not contain more pathological rubric. Our groupings have stopped up to the point of development of functional symptoms. So whatever these such kinds of pathological rubrics are there, they are giving information about a specific pathology. Then clinical rubrics. In this clinical rubrics, what happens? The clinical information is given. The rubrics which are used to very clinical. Clinical rubric here means what? The rubrics which are not present in the Materia Medica, but they have been later on added as symptoms, as a clinical symptoms into Materia Medica after certain clinical experience or a certain clinical verification. And then further, when such type of clinical symptoms later on added is included in the repertory, it becomes the clinical rubric. think I am disconnected. We'll continue with one more